Hey guys, it's your girl Joavan Monet, and this is the final episode, guys. Like, can you believe it? The final episode, the finale. Like, wow. Like, I cannot believe this was so fast, right? Like, wow. So, I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that has been very supportive for the past 3 episodes, now the last one. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for watching. You've tuned into one of the most powerful episodes I think I will have. Actually, yeah, it's one of them. It's definitely up there, and this one's very meaningful to me and very special. So thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for supporting me, whether you watched the first episode to now or you came in the second, third, whatever it is. Thank you so much. And words cannot express what you guys mean to me. So I know I usually try to keep the episodes 30 minutes, but this episode is very dear to me. So please forgive me if I go over the 30 minutes. I'll try my best to keep it within that time. But I want to really take my time with this one just so I can make sure I don't miss any details and understand that because it is a very special episode. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm very excited for season 2. And I hope you guys follow me there. It will be out in November, the first Monday there, and thankfully November has 5 Mondays, so you guys get an extra episode for me. That's more work for me, but I am okay with that. But yes, so I'm gonna just jump right into what this episode is going to be about, because like I said, I want to keep it within the time frame, and it's a lot that I want to talk about. So today is September 28th, and September 30th on Wednesday is a very emotional day for my husband Brooks and for me as well. More for him because he was in a situation that basically put him in the hospital for a week. You know, he was in a very unfortunate but fortunate situation because he's here obviously, but you know, he learned from it, he's growing, and we're here now. So I wanted to kind of, you know, tell everybody my point of view of what happened that day, because it happened in 2012. So September 30th, 2012, which was 8 years ago. And we celebrate it every year because that day really changed his life mainly, but my life as well. And you'll see why in this episode. So just sit back, grab some tissue, get some wine, whatever you want to drink, some water, some juice, whatever it is, because I really want you guys to really, you know, pay attention to what is going on. Here we go. All right. So Brooks and I actually met 2012 in physically in August. We knew of each other through mutual friends. Like maybe I'll say like May, April of that year. But we didn't physically like meet and like exchange numbers and things like that until like August of 2012. So it was mainly just strictly music. Our mutual friends told us about each other, like, you know, he raps, I sing, so like, yo, you should, you know, link up, do a song together. So I was like, all right, whatever, cool. So we ended up, you know, actually talking, and he always was sending me music and telling me he needs me on certain songs and things like that. And you know, he wanted me to come to the studio one time, and I'm just like, well, I don't know you like that. Like, I've never seen you in person. I don't know what your vibe is. Like, I'm not just gonna go to the studio with somebody I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, yo, where you live? I found out he didn't live too far from me. So I was like, bet, so let's link up one day. So we ended up linking up, and from there it was like history. So like I said, that was like August. So time went on, we would link up, go to the studio, talk on the phone, nothing crazy. It really was strictly music. We did have like little personal stories, obviously, because, you know, we just getting to know each other a little bit more, but we never talked about being in a relationship. It was not like that. I had just came out of a crazy relationship, and he didn't want to be bothered. He was focused on his music. So that was not how everything started between us. So like I said, so we was cool, we was talking, and on September 29th, I remember this day like everybody remembers where they were September 11th. Like, I remember that. And I remember we were texting throughout the day like regularly, and I was on my way to East New York I was going in to show my ex and, you know, a few of our friends, whatever cases. So I hit him up, and I was just like, hey, you know, are you free? Because I have to pass his house to basically, you know, get to East New York. So I was just gonna, you know, stop by, say what's up before I went to go to the East New York. So he told me like, no, I'm busy. I have to go to the city to meet my cousin, or whatever the case is. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So we're texting throughout the day. And for some reason, like now when I look back at it, like that day felt very weird to me. But I remember being in East New York and, you know, just chilling, nothing crazy. And I'm texting Brooks, so he's keeping me updated. He's like, yeah, just left, getting on the train. Then he'll let me know, hey, I'm with my cousin. Then he's like, hey, I'm about to get on the train. You know, so I'm like, all right. So then I asked him, well, what you doing, you know, tomorrow? Because I had to get my hair done and I had to do laundry. So I was like, so we could link up tomorrow instead. And he's like, all right, cool. So he was texting me. So I had texted him. I guess he was on the train. So around this time, it's like midnight, like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, right? And I remember being there. My homegirl was there, and we was trying to find a cab, right? And for some reason, like we couldn't get a cab. And every time I was in East New York, because I'll in another episode, well, next season, I will get more into like, you know, my life at that time. But I was always in East New York for a while, so it was easy for me to get a cab. I had like 4 or 5 cab numbers that Uber wasn't popping at that time. So, you know, I'm like, why am I not getting a cab? So me and my homegirl, we ended up getting in a cab together because her aunt called. She got in contact with an Uber service. I'm sorry, not Uber, but a cab service, and he came and picked us up. Now, because it was hard to get a cab, we just decided to get in one. So I had to go like deeper, like far away from my home, like further away, just to drop her off. And then they gave me some money to kind of cover, you know, the expenses from their house to where I gotta go. So, you know, they held me down. I'm very thankful for that. So while I'm in the cab, I'm texting Brooks, and you know, like I said, he replied to me, and he's like, yeah, we could link up. He's like, I just got off the train. He's like, me and my cousin, we about to go to my other cousin crib. So, I'll hit you up in the morning when I'm either like off the train or off the bus. I think he said off the bus, and then we could link up there or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll talk to you. So I'm in the cab, and I'm talking to my other homeboy at the time, you know, nothing regular. So now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And then we pulled up at a light in the cab. So, and I was just regular convo. So I tell my friend, and I'm like, yo, you know, I never been in Brookdale Hospital. Like, we were just at the light, and like on the right side of me, for people that live in Brooklyn or has been to New York or whatever, or if you're familiar with Brookdale Hospital, you kind of know what the location is. So we pulled up like on the right side of it. So it was like here, and I had to make the turn. I want to say King's Highway. That's where we had to make the right turn. So I was there, and I remember saying like, yo, you know, I've never been to Brookdale Hospital before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not a hospital person at all. So I haven't really been to that much hospitals in Brooklyn, like, period, because I really choose not to go there if I don't have to. So I remember just having that conversation with him, whatever the case is. And at the light, right before the light had turned green, and we couldn't go because we heard cops and ambulance like pulling out from Brookdale, like right in front of us. It pulled out, and it went down like this direction. So I guess it was going down towards King's Highway. I gotta make sure that's the right street. I should have looked at this before just to make sure. But it basically went down like this direction. So I'm facing this way. I have to make the right. The police cars and the ambulance is going down to the left. So I'm like, dang, that's crazy. And he's like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, yo, I don't know, you know, Saturday night, early Sunday morning, it's Brooklyn, whatever. I ain't thinking nothing of it. I'll go home. And I remember going to sleep. So the next morning, I go get my hair done, and I'm like waiting to hear from Brooks. So usually we text each other, like, good morning, you know, whatever the case is. And I text him good morning, and it didn't go through. So I'm like, the heck? I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, all right, whatever. Get my hair done. It was kind of crowded, so I was like, I gotta waste time in here anyway, so I'll just wait, you know, I'll hit him up later. So now I'm actually getting my hair done, and I'm sitting under the dryer, texting him. Message failed. And at the time I had an Android, so it was just like not going through. And I'm just like, okay, is he trying to play me? You know what I'm saying? And I'm hitting him up. I'm checking his social media. I'm like going on his Facebook. I'm going on his Instagram. I'm checking his Twitter. I'm feeling like I'm like some crazy girl. Cause I'm like, why is he not answering me? Like, why is his phone not on? Like, I'm like, yo, you trying to, you know, cause I didn't really know him like that. And I'm just like, yo, who he think he playing, you know, whatever the case is. So I called my, one of my, old friends, and I'm like, yo, girl, he not answering my text messages. Like, it's not going through. Like, what is going on? And she's like, yo, just chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, try not to stress. Like, yo, like, that's not your man. I'm like, yo, you're right. So I had to like, kind of like check myself. Like, yo, why am I stressing? Like, this is not my man. Like, whatever. Left it alone. So then I finished getting my hair done, and I'm just like, all right, let me try calling him one more time. Called him. Sorry, the number you called is not in service. I'm like, oh, okay. Left it alone. So I'm like, okay. At the time, he had a prepaid T-Mobile phone. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he didn't put money on his phone. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, maybe he did that. So I get home and I'm waiting. And I'm just like on the phone with my homeboy. And I'm like, all right. Now it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I'm going to just go start my laundry. So that way, whenever he does hit me up, I could just go and not have to worry about doing anything. So I get off the phone with my homeboy. And as soon as I get off the phone, I go on Instagram again. And I was checking in, just not checking on Brooks, you know, at the time, but I'm just checking my social media before I go down, you know, to go do laundry. And as soon as I went on, I seen a picture of Brooks. And I'm like, oh, heck no. Like, I know he did not post a picture. I'm like, oh, I'm going crazy. Like, y'all could imagine, like, imagine trying to hit up somebody and then you just see a picture of them, like, on Instagram. So I'm just like, y'all, I'm like, oh, he about to get cursed out, right? So, but then I realized, I read the caption and it said something like, get well soon, bro, praying for you. But I'm just like, whoa. And literally right then and there, my heart dropped. I literally did not know like what to do with myself. Like, I literally was like, you know, like shaking like this, but it was like more so like inside my body. Like, I'm not getting chills now, sorry. I was literally like shaking. Like, I couldn't comprehend what was happening, you know. Like, I was just like, wait, here I am getting mad at him for not answering his phone, because that's not like him. And I'm just like, I'm like beating myself up out of guilt mixed with I'm hurt, I'm shocked. I don't know what's happening to him. Like, what happened to him? What, like, I was so like lost. And I remember like just staring at the picture, and like my eyes just started getting so blurry with like water, and it was not dropping. It was just like somebody was like pouring water and like inside my head, and it was like filling up, and it was just not, it was like the longest, it was probably like 30 seconds, but it felt like I was sitting there for hours just stuck, and so many thoughts was going on through my head, and I'm just like what, like, what should I do? So I hit up his friend. Thankfully, me and his friend was schooled. I posted, so I hit him up immediately, like, yo, what happened to Brooks? Like, what happened? And he's like, yo, he got beat up, he got stabbed. I'm like, oh. Literally I lost it again. Like, I was sitting there and I'm just like panting. I'm like shaking. I'm just like I really can't explain to you guys. Like, just I literally was like not myself. Like, I literally, like, everything in me just like hit rock bottom, and I was just crying, like, just hysterically. Like, I was just like really, like, I felt so bad because it's like so mad, and it was like he's over here, it's like suffering, and I'm over here mad because his phone is not on and he's not hitting me up, and I'm just like, okay, like, what should I do? You know. And I hit on my homegirl, and I'm just like, yo, I remember calling her, and I'm just like, the minute she picked up, I'm like, yo, Brooks. And she's like, what, Brooks died? I'm like, no, don't say that. Like, I just go and cry. I'm like, yo, don't say that. She's like, well, what happened? I was like, he's in the hospital. He's got stabbed. Oh, like, I'm like, I don't know. I was like, what do I do? She's like, well, what hospital he in? I'm like, yo, I don't even know. I was like, I don't even know. She's like, well, find out what hospital he at. I'll come back out, because she had left the hood. So she came back. She's like, I'm gonna hit you back up when I'm by your door. Like, I'm gonna come back. I was like, all right. So I'm losing my mind. So at this point, like, everybody in my house knows I'm like going through this. I'm like panting. I'm like, I know my face was like swollen and red and just wet. I remember like writing a Facebook post. I posted a picture of him on Instagram, and I was really trying to just get my thoughts together. And I hit up his friend, and I'm like, yo, what hospital he's at? He was like, yo, yeah, he's at Brookdale or whatever. I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go there. And like I said before, guys, I don't like hospitals. I got up. I'm like, yo, I gotta go. So I'm putting on some clothes, just doing anything. Then I had this chain that had like a little cross in it. And I was like, let me just get that. Like, I'm literally like going off adrenaline right now. Like, I'm like losing it. I'm just like, yo, what do I need? Like, what do I need to bring? You know, and my homegirl finally comes, and like, she's looking at me. She's like, yo, like, you're crying. Like, you're really going through it right now. Like, and I'm not a crier. I don't really have like these crazy outbursts. So for me to really get to that point, it took over. And she was like, yo, you're crying like you're his wife or something. And I'm just like, I couldn't say anything. I was like, I literally was numb. Like, I just wanted to get to the hospital. So his friend is telling me, he's giving me updates like, yeah, when you come, this is where you go. So I'm like, I bet I'm on my way there. My bonus dad, thank you for him, he drove me and my friend to the hospital. So while I'm going here, his friend told me, well, you might not be able to see him because he's in a coma. And I'm just like, it was just like news after news after news. I'm like, what do you mean he's in a coma? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, how bad is, like, I didn't know what to expect when I seen him. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, yo, I have to go. Like, something was just like, yo, Joavan, get to that hospital right now. So at this time, it's like 7:15, 7:30ish, right? I get there, and I see his friend, I see his cousin that I know, I see a few people that I know, because I didn't know a lot of people like how I know now, but I knew a few people, and I know like familiar faces. And I remember seeing his friend. He's like, yeah, you could go. He's like, they're actually allowing visitors. You could, it's like two to the bed or whatever. He was in ICU. And I remember going up there, and like, it's like the closer I got to him, I started to be calm. Like, I started to feel good. Like, I started to feel like, you know, like, I was like, I can't let him see me like this. Even though he's in a coma, I didn't want that energy. You know, I didn't want that around him. I wanted him to be as cool and calm and peaceful as possible, so that way he'd get out that coma. And, you know, and I remember, you know, seeing his mom and his sister and brother. They was they was actually in the room with him. And ICU, like, they had like, it's like a lot of people in the room. And I was not expecting that the minute you open the door, you see him. And I'm just like, it's like I kind of got that dropping feeling again. And I'm just like, oh shoot, like, there he is. And because his mom was there and his sister and brother was there, I gave them a hug. And it was just me and my friend and Brooks. And this was her first time actually like seeing him in person. She heard about him, but it was her first time actually seeing him. I'm just like, how crazy is this? And I remember, you know, looking at him, and he did not look like himself. Like he had a bruise on his forehead, his lip was busted, his eyes was just all swollen. He was just so swollen. And he looked like I told him he looked like a Nutty Professor. Like, he was just so swollen. And I felt calm inside, but I could not talk, guys. Like, I could not talk. Even though I know he couldn't really hear me or whatever. Or like, he can't respond. Like, he had like a tube down his throat or whatever. He had, you know, machines hooked up. His hands was all cut up. He had like little scratches and stuff around him. And I could not talk. Like, I was like, hey, Bugs, hey. Like, I literally, it was kind of like, you know, you have, at night when you try to sleep and you wake up, and I forgot what that thing is called, a paralysis or whatever that thing. I know what I'm talking about, when you try to sleep and then the sleeping paralysis thing, right? It felt like that. It felt like I could not get it out. So I was just like, yo, I'm gonna just pray on it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember asking my friend what time it was. She said it was like 7:43, and visiting hours ended at 8. So I'm like, all right, cool. Since I can't talk to him, I'm gonna just pray. That's the best thing you could do. So I was looking at the machines and I'm just like making sure he's still good. And I'm looking around, I'm just like, all right, let me just pray, get out of here. So that way, he has so many visitors there. So I was like, let me not take up too much of this time. You know what I'm saying? So I was holding his hand, and every once in a while though, he would move like his thumb, like that. If you hold his hand, he would like move his finger every once in a while. Like sometimes like his foot will move, but he wasn't aware. So I was holding his hand, and I had a lot of rings on. I'm like, dang, I didn't need to wear all these rings. So I'm holding his hand like this. So he's like right in front of me, and he's holding my hand, and I'm like, start praying. And as soon as I'm done praying, I asked my friend what time was it. I think she said it was like 7:47. I'm like, all right, cool. We just gonna dip. I'm gonna come back and see him tomorrow. So as soon as I'm about to let go of his hand, I'm not playing with you guys. Like, as soon as I'm about to let go of his hand, all I feel is this. Like, he's squeezing my hand, guys. Like I said, I had rings on. Oh gosh, like I still feel it to this day when I talk about it. Like, he was squeezing the mess out of my hand. And I'm looking at my friend this way, but when he squeezed my hand, I'm like, what? I'm like, what is happening? And as soon as I look at him, his eyes popped open. And he was panicking, guys, like panicking. And he's like squeezing my hand. He's like kicking. He's like doing all this. And mind you, got the two missiles. So he's like this. And he's like panicking. And he's like looking at me like help me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, like what is happening, guys? I'm like, yo, nurse, like somebody, like my hand, like help him. Like, what do I do? And I'm looking at the machines. I'm like, wait, like somebody comes. So my friend, like she has a beautiful heart, and she's very sensitive, and she's emotional. And she was like, nurse, come, like help. And then the nurse came all nonchalant. Oh, he just woke up out of a coma. I'm like, miss, how dare you come over here with that type of energy? And like, I was not expecting that, but it just dawned on me like, oh shoot, he's up. Like, I literally just finished praying. I'm about to leave. And then you do that in front of my face after the day that I had. And I promise you guys, after that, I'm like, yo, I have to like be in this guy's life. Like, I just shared I experienced this, and I have to just be in his life. Like, I felt like at that time, like, yeah, I have to like stay around him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I was like his protector, like his, like guardian angel, or his, like, I took that on. That's how I felt. I'm like, yo, like you really just woke up with me, and my, like, you was like here. And after that, guys, like, the nurse was like, you're okay, you're in the hospital, you got stabbed. And he's looking at her like angry, like he looks so angry. And then like after she's talking to him, he kind of like just he calmed down, and he like looked to the side and kind of like just closed his eyes, and like he's just like laying it because he knows nothing he could do. And the nurses explained to him, we got the tube down your throat to help you breathe, and soon we'll give you some food, and things like that will take care of you, whatever the case is, but just relax. And she walks away, and I'm just like, what? And I'm like talking to him. I'm like, yo, you got this. You're gonna get out of here. We're gonna make songs. You're gonna make a song about this. You're gonna make a project about this. Like, it's on. Like, before 10 minutes ago, I could not talk to this man, but here I am, it's just coming out, guys. Like, I feel so, like, I'm like, oh shoot, like, he's good. Like, yo, I was like, the happiest girl that day. Like, I was just like, yo, but like, I didn't know what I was saying. I was just like, yo, it's Joavan. We're going to make this music. Just hit me out. I'm going to come see you tomorrow. We're going to, like, I was just like saying anything that I could say to him. Because I know that he's up. Like, he can hear me. Like, he if he wanted to respond, he could respond. Like, I was really, like, so, like, I can't explain to you guys, like, what I felt that day. So, like, I'm never going to forget that. Never, 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 never. And a lot of people don't know that, because I don't really talk about it. But I felt like I have to share it to you guys, especially because, you know, Wednesday, the anniversary is coming up. And, I just remember like being there in that moment. And another moment that I'm always going to cherish, especially now that I'm a mom, is, like I said, when you first open the door to ICU, he's the first person. So I remember we was getting ready to leave. Me and my friends about to get ready to leave. And after I finished going off, like, oh, you know, my excitement, I remember somebody had opened the door and his mom was right by the door. And she saw that he was up, like he was kind of like looking around. Oh my gosh, her face running back into that room. Oh God, I'm getting chills. It was just like, it was just so beautiful to see, you know. I never, like, it was just the most beautiful thing. And now that I'm a mom, it's like, I could just like, I can't imagine what she was going through that day, just seeing her son like that. And she's such a beautiful woman. Oh my God, I'm crying. She's such a beautiful woman. And like, I really felt for her that day. And seeing her face, seeing her son with his eyes open and with, you know, like he's okay. Like, it was like light was like shining from her face. I just seen the relief and the love that she has for him just come through her face. She ran through that door so fast, and she was just so happy, you know, to see him up and to see him okay. And I never told her this. So Mom, if you're watching this, oh my God, I love you so much for that. And I'm never going to forget that. You know, I'm never going to forget that moment of her running into the room to see her son. And like, that made me just feel like I'm literally stuck with this guy. I did not know we were gonna be married. I did not know we were gonna have a beautiful baby boy. I did not know we was gonna have this life. I just knew that it was my job to be in his life, no matter what it was. And I always told him as a joke, like, yo, you're stuck with me, you're stuck with me. And that day, like, really solidified it. It was like, yo, I cannot leave this man's side, because I was a part of something so beautiful with him waking up out of a coma and then seeing his mom have that moment. You know, it was like, I can't leave. I can't, like, no matter what happens between us, like, I'm never going to like be away from this guy. And I'm so happy and I'm so honored and blessed and grateful to have him in my life now as a husband. And we've been through so much after that, and that's a whole nother episode within itself. But we have been through so much, and I would not trade him for the world. I wouldn't want to go through anything that I've went through with anybody else. And to everybody out there, if you haven't found the one, it's okay. I promise you, it's coming. Like, just trust your gut, trust your instinct. It's gonna happen. And when you guys find out more about our story, about how we officially became, you know, a couple, and then now to being married, like, it's all just a beautiful, like, testimony to that moment. And I'm just so relieved. And when I think back at it now, it's like, and when I found out more information about that night with him, the time that it happened was the time that I was at the corner in the cab looking at the cops. They was going to him. I was by Brookdale. I said, I never been to Brookdale. Little did I know I was going to be in Brookdale a few hours later with him. You know, and like, I would have never thought any of this. Like, and that's why certain things happen for a reason and you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, that needed to happen, not just for him, but for me, because that made me realize that I care about him more than I was coming off as, you know. I that was like my slap in the face, like, yo, your feelings that you feel towards him is real and you gotta act on it or else. You know, and sometimes you gotta go through those rough patches. Sometimes you gotta go through that harsh reality. Sometimes you gotta face some things you don't know how you're gonna get through. But look at the outcome, you know. And like I said, in season 2, I will explain more about Brooks and I's story, because it definitely is worth sharing. But you know, that's just what I got from that, you know. And I'm so thankful that I actually listened to my gut and listened to my instincts and went with it and followed my heart and really went through all the stuff that we went through to make it to this point, and to see the growth that he has made from 2012 to through 2020 has been nothing but amazing, and I'm in awe. And that's why for the past 7 years I have sacrificed putting my career on pause and putting my life basically on pause for him, because I've seen him go through so much with healing out of that situation and dealing with so many things at that time. And I'm like, that was my job. I had to let him grow and heal and really get back to feeling like himself. And he's there and beyond. And like I said, it's just been beautiful to see. And I always tell him, you know, I don't know if we'll be married forever. We don't know what the future holds. That is the goal, of course. But if anything was to ever happen between us and we have to separate, he already know that I'm always going to be there for him no matter what. And I love him so much. And I love him more than I'll probably show him or like whatever. But it's that moment, every time we get into a little argument or a little whatever, we have a little debates or whatever, I always, like, when I'm about to go to bed, I always think about that moment, like, Joavan, like, that wasn't worth it. It's not worth it. And I always have that to go back onto, to remember my purpose and remember our purpose, you know. And that really was the start of our life that we didn't even know that we was going to have. And that's what I took from it. And it is real, you know. And it's so funny because when I told him my side of the story, he doesn't even remember waking up. He don't remember any of that, guys. Like, he doesn't remember any of that. He don't remember waking up. He don't remember seeing me. He don't remember panicking. He don't remember none of that stuff. So I know that was just the universe and the energy and the aboves and all just doing what it's supposed to do. And that's just life making magic happen. And I'm just so thankful to have been a part of that moment. And I'm so happy that I was part of his life to that point where I was close enough to get information and to get to him when I did. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to share it with you guys publicly and finally, you know, speak on my point of view of that day. And it's a little bit past 30 minutes, but I really hope that you guys see the beauty behind that situation. It was very scary for him, of course, and his family and his close ones at that time, because me and him wasn't as close, but it was a very scary time. And to see the progress and see everything and to be here now to speak on it, knowing that he's in the next room, it's just a testimony, guys. Like, you never know what was gonna happen. You just have to make sure you bounce back from it, you know what I'm saying? And make sure you have the right people in your life, you know. And later on, like I said, I will explain more of our story, because me being in his life consistently after that really helped him heal, and it helped him, you know, change his life. And I'm just happy that it was me, because he's a great guy, you know. And if you know him, you know he's he's definitely one of a kind. And for those of you that don't know him, you will get to know him through me. And also he has music out. He has an EP that he just put out called well, not just put out, he put it out on his birthday, which was last month. It's called The Self-Proclamation of King Brooks. And as always, on September 30th, if you please go check in the description box, I will put all of his social media there. If you check on Wednesday, he will be posting a special release, which is gonna basically kind of relate to all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. But every year on that date, he does something, and it's something that we definitely celebrate. Other people may be like, all right, that happened already, but you don't understand the deepness of it, the connections, and you know, the lessons and things that we learn from that. So that's why we celebrate it every year. You know what I'm saying? That's our thing. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So once again, I'm sorry for going over 30 minutes, but like I said, this was most likely gonna go over. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if I made you cry. I wasn't expecting to cry. This is just my heart. This is just me expressing myself. I thought I was gonna cry earlier, but I was holding it in. But then I talked about his mom, and like I said, me being a mom, I could relate now. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting me from the beginning of the season to now. It's sad that it has to end, but September doesn't have any more Mondays. But please stay tuned for any updates. I will be working on my EP called Miss Different. I will continue to have my editing company, Miss Different Edits. I'll be doing a lot of my stuff. I have to do a lot of Brooke stuff. So that's why I kind of need that little break in between. You know, like I said on my first episode, I am human. But yeah, so I'm gonna stop this video before it gets too crazy. But thank you guys so much. I love you guys dearly. You guys have been nothing but supportive, and you guys have made me feel so appreciated in this new journey in my life. And I really hope I kept you guys entertained. I hope you guys learned a lot. There's a lot more to learn. I hope you guys know a little bit more about me. I hope you guys, you know, come back next season. Still subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share with your friends. Hit me up. Let me know any ideas you want for season 2. Want to be a guest? You got questions? All that good stuff. Just hit your girl up, and I will see you guys in season 2.